Miss Lex Carpenter. Lex, how are you today?
I'm doing good, Corey. How's it going?
Awesome, awesome. It's been a little while since we got on a live together. I know you've
Yeah.
been pounding the pavement here with us every week, going through your trades and helping our traders pass auditions. We've heard so many good things from traders who have either passed or taken payouts because of your strategies and just guidance. So I wanted to have you back on and just get a recap, see how things have been going, check how the markets have been. Maybe at the end we'll do a little bit of charting. But how
Yeah.
have you been?
Been amazing. It's actually crazy when I started those live sessions with you. That was on August 28th when we first started rolling these. So for it to be November 3rd already is actually crazy. Time is just flying by, but there's been a lot of opportunity in the market. I can't see on my end when I'm doing the teaching who's on the calls, but I know following the calls, following the week of trading, I've had people message me and tell me like, hey, I've passed my audition with your setup. Whether or not they used good leverage, I don't know. It's none of my business, but they're passing with the setups. If I were to up my lot size and take the setups, I'd pass an audition in one trade, but disciplines and all that go into play. But it's been really good. The market, I've enjoyed
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah, we've heard the same. So as you
Yeah.
know, and most of the viewers know, we have two trading personalities. We have Brandon Gilbert and Lex Carpenter who come on during the week and share some trading insights. And both of you guys have been doing phenomenal. I mean, Lex, you don't miss. Brandon doesn't miss. You guys have been giving some, phenomenal strategies to the traders. And
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people have reached out to us and say, "Hey, listen, I was able to either make some money or pass my audition with the new training that I've been receiving." So super
Nice.
great, super awesome.
Nice.
And thanks so
Yeah.
much for your contribution to the Surge
Of
Trader
course.
family.
Yeah, of course. It's exciting because it's like it's not hard. You just if you understand, it's all about psychology. You're gonna be in good shape, and it's a great
Yep,
place to learn. Even learning from Brandon, there's things I learned from Brandon. So definitely a lot of resources here at Surge.
absolutely. Well, you guys have wildly different strategies for the most part. His is a much longer term strategy, so it's nice to have kind of both ends of the spectrum for the
Right.
traders to come on and see what works for them. Personality is a big part of trading. You got to find something that works for you. We
Yep.
really don't have too many people who, on my show sometimes we get some scalpers on, but we'll probably try to bring a scalper on, somebody who's looking at an even shorter time frame to give
Yeah.
people a little taste of that as well. So we have kind of the
Yeah.
the short, the middle, and the longer term.
Right on.
So tell me
Right
this:
on.
how since you started in August, I know you've had many setups, and like I said, you don't miss. They all looked great. How has your personal trading been?
Personal trading has been absolutely amazing. Even this week was great. Even my first session was Tuesday with you guys. So our session was Tuesday, and I called out a beautiful GBP USD, and I mean it went 198 pips. Woke up this morning, profits were off. Like I wasn't even in my trade anymore. And usually when you wake up and your trade's not on, you're like, uh oh, did stop loss get hit or did take profit get hit?
Right, right.
So it woke up, take profits, completely just obliterated. And so, even other people close to me are taking those trades. KJ's taking trades, hitting. So, really great week. Really, I just, when you learn the skill set, you realize you don't need a lot. Like you don't need 10 trades a week. I just take one trade a week, guys, and it just gets it done. Super easy. And that's why we
Awesome.
trade. We don't want to be glued to the computer all day. Like I like the approach of just if I can just sit all week, and I mean technically I was waiting 4 days since Monday to take my first trade today, and it $3,000 trade done, 2 hours, my day's wrapped up. That's my kind of trading style. So I think it's also great that you have the Brandon, who's like the higher time frame, super daily, weekly guy, and then like I'm more of like the 4 hour into the 1 hour, and then as you said, you're looking for scalpers. So just great
Yeah.
movement,
Yeah.
great stuff. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So I know it's just a very short time frame. You've been trading for a long time, but
Yeah.
being kind of, and you've traded every day in your own live streams, but with us and kind of having an introspective look at your own trading. Have you learned
Yeah.
anything about your style? Have you learned anything about yourself since you started with us?
Um, I think that process is just an ongoing process all the time. Like I'm a better trader than I was yesterday, and I'll be a better trader Monday than I am today, right? And so I think that's an ongoing process. But I will say it's like doing the SurgeTrader live sessions outside of my private platform just adds an additional layer of accountability. So I feel like just adding that extra environment of like traders that are hungry has actually elevated my trading as well because like this is all I want to do. I want to eat, sleep, breathe this thing. And so when I get to add another element where I get to help people get to their next milestones, it makes trading a lot more fun. And so for whatever reason, I'm just having a blast. I'm telling you, once you get past that corner and you get around profitability curves, you're gonna love this stuff, and it's just worth it. It's just worth it, guys.
Awesome, awesome. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So let's jump into that a little bit, because there's so many traders out there who, they step into the arena, it doesn't go positive immediately, and they're discouraged. So let's talk about how and what and timeline and what people should expect, and give us some best practices. I know your journey was unique. Everybody's is going to be a little bit different, but what should traders expect?
Don't expect to be a multimillionaire or a six-figure income earner, or maybe even a five-figure income earner in your first year. I've seen stories that are anomalies, to the process, to the journey. But when I look at my circle and the traders I actually know who are trading profitable, it's all taken them around 3 years to really touch into profitability. And then I can say at that 5-year mark, you just get in this place where the market becomes so easy. Like, I open the charts and I don't need to over analyze. I just look and I'm like, oh yeah, it's there, it's not there. And there's this discretion that evolved over time, because I'm so used to just knowing what my system is at that 3-year mark of practicing my system. That's when I can say, like, you'll see life-changing returns. But I've seen my students take my system, BJ, for example. I always shout out BJ, and under a year, I mean, she's done 30,000 in a month, with my system. And I've not done $30,000 months back to back to back. So it's like, to see that, it just shows strategy works, number one. Number two, everybody's journey looks different. So it's like, I can try to average a timeline, but I took 3 years because I didn't have money to invest in education. So I had to learn the really slow way, right? But for people who have money to invest in education, who get to find an educator and get a system in play, because that's what all this is just finding one system. She was able to do that, and she's been able to be so profitable in under a year. And if I had my system, Corey, oh my God, give me a year with this system. That's why.
Why do you what do you attribute to BJ's quick success? Was she trading with larger dollar amounts? Is she less risk averse?
There's some people who are just like I can tell people, this is what we need to do to be successful. Trust me, listen to me, I've done this, I'm expediting your process. And there's some people who will literally listen and do it exactly that way, like not go do just some dumb-headed error, right? BJ is one of those people who, she doesn't sway outside of it. She's like, okay, Lex gave me this blueprint. If this is what I need to follow to emulate success, why would I do anything different? Once I've tapped into the success, then I'll tailor my trading style, because we're all going to trade different. But as for, why is she so good so early? It's because she didn't do anything different. She didn't go, that looks good, let me put a spin on it too quickly, kind of thing. She was like, all right, I'm going to keep refining the strategy. She didn't go by education, right? She just was like, all right, if I miss a trade or if I lose a trade, and this goes for everybody, even me, it's not that my system doesn't work. It's just the market conditions don't align, and so be it, move on to the next trade. But for traders who see that success, and I wasn't disciplined, I can be honest. First 3 years, I was just like, I need like this 100,000, like I need it, especially because I chose to make $175 a week out of college instead of go get a $50,000, $60,000 job with my degrees. I chose a harder route, so the emphasis of making the money was making it more difficult on my psychology. And so over time, you realize, oh my God, you just less is more, stay disciplined, play the long game. And if I got to take 5 years to really get to this point to secure the next 60, it's a no-brainer for me.
Absolutely. I think people are too short-sighted on that, trying to get the profits too quickly, where, if they just focus, like we always say, it's all cliches, but focus on the process instead of the profit, and you'll get it much quicker.
That's it. It's all about the process.
What's new in the world of markets? Give us some fundamental technical stuff that's going on, and no charts yet, but just overall broad spectrum.
Yeah, so obviously people know that there's tension in the Middle East, things like that, when it comes to fundamentals, which will drive up the prices of our commodities. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't believe interest rates were hiked during FOMC yesterday, so you did see the dollar index continue to decline. So that's pretty much it for fundamentals. I don't overdo it on fundamentals except for my own self knowledge, but I don't apply it really to my trading. And today's a great example. We had non-farm payroll at 8 o'clock, which 8:30, which is usually a lot of volatility, right? Well, over time, when I first got into trading, people used to be like, NFP, da da da, and I used to be like, oh, okay, don't trade. Like, how should I do this? Well, fast forward 5 years, I'm in trades with heavy lots in NFP because markets are either going to perpetuate the market structure that's already printed, or it's just going to go wipe out a liquidity level or do nothing. So you get to the point where you realize I can be in a trade before a major news event, or I can get in a trade after a major news event. But I don't advise, obviously, getting into the market right when the news drops. But perfect example, NFP, I just held my trades, I was break even, and the NFP just flew the market in my direction. So,
Awesome.
um,
Awesome.
yeah,
That always is nice.
yeah, it was
That's
beautiful.
awesome.
I was already up, and I was like, should I take the profit? And I was like, NFP might bring some volatility, and who knows what's going to be in the news folder, but I trust the strategy, and I trust that I'm break even. So what's the risk? I'm knocked out, and
Cool.
that's it. Next week we'll trade again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you going to news folders every day?
Yeah, every day I check just to see what currency pairs might be impacted. But other than that, I'm not
Got it.
like opening up the analysis and going number by number. I'm a technical trader, and that's all that really matters to me, that and psychology.
Great. Great. Well
Yeah.
said. What's
Yeah.
new in the world of prop space? I know there's been a lot going on in prop.
Yeah.
What have you heard from your students? Everybody's, for a while, kind of everybody was moving towards prop. There was some,
Yeah.
interesting stuff, news in the markets. People kind of pulled away from a little bit. Are you still seeing a lot of people going towards prop, going towards surge?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the launch of the two-step audition. At first, I think, even our conversations at the pit, we've been like, okay, like this is going to be different because, we launched with the one phase, which people love that, but people have said, that's it's a little more pricey. And, just based on my affiliate portal, I can see the activity in there, and I go look at the metrics, and I can see that people are buying these two-step auditions left and right because, yeah, like obviously,
Exactly. It's crazy. I didn't anticipate it to be such a huge mover. I thought we were going to cater to a small section of the market who are looking
yeah,
for something a little bit different, but people really seem to like it. There's a couple benefits to it. One's the lower price point.
yeah,
Second is that the fixed drawdown. People really
yeah,
like the fixed drawdown, and
yeah,
of course the high leverage, 50-to-1 leverage. So
right
it's
on.
depending on your trading style, it could be a perfect fit for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. Even just playing around, I went and got a two-step. So, because I just wanted to see parameters, and so I can actually speak on it. Like
Sure.
um, you know, we're pushing this amazing brand and this amazing opportunity. I want to be able to make sure I'm educated and teaching people along the way. Like, hey, I know trading, but let's get into the nitty gritty of why prop space firm and getting with compliant prop space firms are so important as well. So watching all these people buy this two-step, I'm like, there it is, that cheaper, more affordable rate for certain people depending on your circumstances, that changes for
Especially
everybody.
now, everything's so expensive, so if you could save a couple bucks here or there,
Yeah.
the end result is a little different. You have to have passed twice, but for a lot of
Yeah.
people, that savings is going to be worth it.
Yeah, but I mean, like if you're profitable, it really shouldn't be, too difficult, especially because I think on the 50,000, which is the one I'm just playing with right now, really close to passing actually the phase one. Uh, I noticed like, okay, so I have my $50,000 account, but I don't need a $5,000 profit. I only need a $4,000 profit my first round.
Right.
So
Yep.
it's like if you're really profitable, you should knock those profits out, no problem. Two phases, you saved money, like that's what you wanted, and you're still good to go. Nothing too drastic, and
Exactly. And with no time limit, it's not like you're up against the wall. It takes a
right,
little bit longer because you have the two phase, but overall, it's a good blend of metrics compared to the one phase. So,
yeah,
we probably still outsell it 2-to-1, 3-to-1 with one phase. People who are familiar with prop and who have traded before, they just love the one phase. But
yeah,
particularly for new traders or traders who need a little bit more drawdown on that fixed drawdown, we
yeah.
are moving a ton of two phase. So it's nice to see that it was a product that the market was asking for.
Yeah, yeah, it was. Looked like people loved it as soon as it launched. I mean, no more one steps. I'm like, I know Brandon and I were in there like, we love the one step, but we've been trading 5, 7 years, So,
Right.
but for a lot of people, they're like that two step. It's, I'm not super comfortable totally yet with my trading strategy. This is, enough that I'm willing to lose in the initial investment of the challenge. So,
Right, exactly. For people who are new, who don't want to jump in 2 feet forward. Also, a lot of times people come to prop firms and they're not sure, hey, is this a real thing? How does this work? They just want to get
yeah,
in on a small scale, and the two phase is great for that.
that's it. That's it. Right on.
Yeah.
Right
So
on.
you're almost past the two phase. So let us know when you pass. I'll shout you out on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just fun, you know. It's fun even getting in the SurgeTrader competitions they have, win the 1,000 million. Listen, like being an ambassador doesn't exclude me from being able to
Yeah,
have fun.
no, absolutely, absolutely. Jump in those competitions. They're
Yeah,
awesome. We've got one running right now, and we'll have one in December. We run them monthly. They
right.
run for about a week, and it's a great way to kind of not only to win. I mean, there's a lot of prizes to be had, but also people who are kind of on the fence. Maybe they've never traded before with Surge,
Yeah,
or they've
yeah.
never used the portal before. They can get in there and get a really good representation of what it looks like, and test their strategies out in a safe way, and
That's
hopefully
it.
win some prizes.
That's it. Yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah.
Any chance you can get your hands into the process of things, just do it. Like, who cares about the outcome? Just do it. Get acquainted.
Awesome. And I know, so let's go back a little bit for a second to some fundamental stuff. I know you do watch the markets, not so much for your trading, but for your personal stuff. Would you have any predictions for us coming through the end of the year?
I don't. No, 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 really. Have
Not on this show, at least, right?
not on this one, Corey. No.
It should be interesting. I mean, we're with all the numbers that have been coming out, it should be a wild end wrap up to the year.
Yeah,
Yesterday the market, stock market went up wild like crazy, and then again today. So we're
and
seeing some increased volatility for sure.
yeah, and I think that's what we're just going to continue to see. I don't have like a major prediction where I can put like, just a hand on it exactly, but the way I look at it as a trader for me is just where the markets are trending is where I'm just going to flow. So that's the beautiful thing about Forex, like if you compare it to an options or, another financial market like that, you need like I think a bare minimum of, and correct me if I'm wrong, like $25,000 margin account to be able
Correct.
to put a sell in, a put, right? With Forex, like I have people ask me all the time because they're not familiar with Forex itself, they're just familiar with the trading, right? So, and they say to me, well, like, what happens if the market goes down? And I'm like, well, this is why I love Forex. Like, nothing happens. I just continue to trade, and no matter what, I don't need 25,000 to open up a margin account, which doesn't, pin me to only being able to buy, right? So Forex is
Sure.
awesome. It doesn't matter up, down, we can trade it. So it's just sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Keeps you very flexible. You
it
take the
does.
long, take the short, stay active. That's
Yes,
great. That's great.
yes.
What have your students been sharing with you recently on trading in general? Is now a harder time for them to trade, easier time?
I think with everybody's process, it's never just like that, just that smooth sailing route. So like while some traders might be up, the next week they might be down, right? So it's forever changing. I don't ever feel like when they check in once, that's the most recent update, right? Like the next experience they have in the market, they have a new update because it's affecting them so much. So it's like they're like, I'm up, some people are just flourishing. I have those students who are just killing it. And then I have students who are really trying to get around that corner, and you can see them just poking at this thing. And I can always tell what students are going to make it around the corner and which students aren't. I've done this process, so I know it when I see it. And for the students who are just having those moments, I just try to tell them, like, throttle back on technicals and indicators, and let's dial in on your psychology, because the chance is it's not your trading, it's not patterns, it's not technicals, it's probably psychologically you did something wrong, and the slightest thing in trading can throw it off. Like if something gets under your skin the slightest way, you can act totally different in the market. So for me, I try to take it back to psychology. Like we can all teach technicals. Like I can show somebody some charts and they can go teach that to the next person in 3 days, whether or not they trade. But what separates success and stuff from the non-successful is definitely, just the psychology
The
portion
off
of
the
it.
charts stuff.
Yeah, it's the really nitty gritty work that illuminates the parts of you where you really got to tighten up on, which isn't always
Got it.
easy to have to.
Yeah, of course.
Hear
Sometimes
that.
that's much harder than the technical stuff. So you mentioned that you have a good feel of who's going to be able to round that corner and who's not. What are some of the non-tangible attributes of traders who you believe are going to be successful?
Honestly, that's a great question. Consistency, number one. Number two, durability, also. Number three, I would probably say attention to detail. So trading is moving parts, but it's not complex in a sense. It's very objective and it's very cut and dry, so we tend to overcomplicate it. So I would say attention to details is important. And then the fourth one is just commitment, really commitment to your craft. Trading's not a get rich quick scheme. It's not fast.
It's a
It's not
long road, right?
it is. It's what I call the slow grind. There's some things where instant gratification comes quickly, but with the market it does not. And that's a normal thing. If you go and interview every trader who's made money, they'll tell you the same thing. It's a process, right? Because it is a
Sure.
constant experience and reflection, and you're literally just in this tandem as long as you're trading. So I would say if you have the ability to be consistent, be durable, be committed, and be attentive, and just be detached emotionally from this market, which is probably the biggest thing, I'd say you're going to be in really good shape. I've seen so many traders make it, and I've seen so many traders, it's not that they didn't make it, they just didn't do what needed to be done. And
Sure, sure. Right. They didn't exercise the non-tangibles that needed to bring them over that next hump.
that's it. That's all.
Interesting.
That's why
In your
I
course,
don't.
I've gone. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just want to throw out there real quick, Corey, that I don't think that it scares traders off when they hear the statistic that only 9 out of 10 traders are failing, 1 out of 10 is profitable. But I don't think it's because of application. I just think it's about durability. I think those 9 out of 10 traders that we're referencing that failed just didn't make it long enough. They didn't
Got
stay in
it.
it.
So had they stayed the course a little bit longer, they could have
Yes.
been in that statistic as well.
Absolutely. And then if you circle back with those people and say, well, what are you doing now? And they're not learning anything, right? And it's like, well, you could have just stayed in it the whole time and just learned it anyways. The time's gonna pass, it's gonna go by. Learn it anyways, because I'm telling you, when you're sitting here on Friday and you make $3,000 in 2 hours, life feels really different going into the next couple of days. And I didn't get that from overnight. It's 5 years process
Sure.
where now I can start to taste the fruits of my labor, which is crazy to watch it turn the corner like this.
Awesome. That's awesome. It must be nice to see students do that as well. I mean, it's probably, it feels great in your own pocketbook, but, seeing other people and seeing their lives transformed is probably really rewarding.
It's the best. It's the most rewarding. That is because you'll watch people's lives just change, like, and you see the subtle differences. Even if you go on Instagram pages, you can see the change and the evolution of the non-profitable to profitability, and it's freaking awesome. So I'm like, 5 years in, I mean, what could 10, 20 years look like in this thing? So
Right. Sure.
yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it's crazy.
The SurgeTrader live show is going to be a little different at that point, 10 years in. I'm excited to see it.
I'm in this thing for the long run, so I can't
I
wait
know
to
you
watch.
are. I know you are. It's awesome. It's awesome. Just on a personal note, what do you guys have planned for the holidays?
Not too much, honestly. I think going to Seattle, Washington to spend some time with my family. My brother, he's in the Navy, so he's stationed away from me, so I don't get to see him often. So we're gonna go fly out there and just explore Seattle. Never been there.
Cool. Very cool.
So things like that. Trading, for December, markets tend to slow up a little bit anyways because of
Hmm.
holidays. So, I just advise people to take the time to be more present with their family and, just present with their loved ones during that time. So,
Do you
uh,
do you typically sit out during that time, or are you going to just be a little more careful of the trades you take?
it's like we never really sit out as a trader, but I won't be as, I guess, assertive. If it's just so beautiful and I can't resist it and it meets all my criteria, then I'll take it. But if it's just, I notice volatility is a little slower, and even in the prior weeks leading up, I'll probably throttle back a little. But it's nice when you get to a certain point in trading, you can finally sit back and say, during certain points, I can just be present, and that's what it's all about. So I'm just excited to be with my nephew, my niece, and
Awesome.
trading.
Should be a good time. Yeah,
Yeah.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Is that something you typically teach your students as well? Like, seasonality. Hey, listen, summer's a little slow, December's a little slow. Stay out of those. What should they be watching for at that time?
Yeah, I teach all that. I try not to overemphasize it because I think there's no better teacher than experience itself. So I don't want to dictate people's decisions too much on my own personal experience when it comes to things like that. Because I've seen people who traded day after New Year's or a day before New Year's and made a crap ton of money. So it's like I just kind of give them, the disclaimer that, hey, the market has potential to slow up drastically, volatility. Keep that in mind, but don't overly compensate on that piece of information and change your approach in the markets.
Got it. That's a good approach.
Yeah.
Right, because you could be taking something away from them.
Mhm,
teaching something
mhm.
that might not be true. But
Yeah.
giving them the disclaimer or rule of
Yes.
thumb, so to speak, hopefully keeps them safe.
Yes, and that's all I can do as an educator and as a mentor. I just try to put my students in the best possible position to make the best decision. But you don't need my validation or my approval to make your decision. Make your
Right.
decision, and whether you win or lose, cool. Like both are great. Both are great.
Yeah,
One
absolutely, absolutely.
feels
As
a
long
little
as long
different.
as you're respecting the process, it's a
Yeah.
win-win.
Yes, respect
Do you
the
have any
process.
trades on right now?
No, so I took GBP USD this yesterday was my first scale in, and then I scaled in this morning early, and I mean 198 pips in like 2 hours. It was crazy. So hit my TPs, and I know it's gonna go higher just because I've been in this for a while, so I know it's gonna go higher. It probably has. I haven't checked, but I took the profits, and I'm like, all right, 2,700, just take it. Just take it. Just be done. And there's that other side of you that's going to try you every single time to say, come on, like 3,000. It's just right there, But what's the difference? $300, I'm good. 2,700,
Sure.
I'm
Right.
good.
Right. And that could turn around on you also. So was
Yeah.
that in your trading plan? Was that was where your take profit was already set?
Yeah, yes. I'm kind of doing some trial and erroring with my myself, my journey, my trading process, and I have implemented a style where I'm aiming for my targets always, and I'll scale out and take some of that profit, but then I'll also leave a runner because I don't know how far that market's really going to go, and so there's a chance that that market might go 198 pips more. I'll just leave it, take some profit, and I kind of get the best of both worlds, right? I get to kind of play my style and integrate this new one, which is in there because there's so many times where I'll hit such beautiful trades, take my profits, and it'll go 190 pips more. And so I'm like, well, how can I do it without altering my P&L too much, which is okay, one entry, I'll make sure to scale out, take the profit, and then I'll leave another entry and I'll see what happens with it. If it comes back to break even, whatever, I still made profit on the first entry. So I'm kind of in this like trial and error phase. So I ended up taking this one, but it's only because I'm going into the weekend.
Nice, nice. Our Latin American ambassador Raul Arias, he's huge on leaving runners, and sometimes it's just a fraction of a pip, and I don't know, a
Yeah.
fraction of a position. He just leaves it on there, and he's had some wonderful results with it. So I'm encouraged to hear that you're trying that
Yeah,
out.
yeah, that's awesome. You don't need a crazy big lot size. Like if people are interested in that method, I'll put my bigger lot size on the entry that's gonna be scaled out at my profits, right? But then I'll put a smaller, like I'll do $1 per pip, and I'll let
Hmm.
that run. But if that thing goes 1,000 pips, I have
Sure,
$1,000,
right.
$1 per pip, So
Yep.
um, we'll see what happens. I like it though.
Yeah.
I'm having fun with it. It's worked and then it hasn't. So we'll see.
Good, good. Yeah, keep refining it. I'd love to next time we check in. I'd love to hear more about that because he swears by it and he's had a lot of great success. It's one of
That's
those
all.
things he leaves a very small percentage on, and it's just like money in the bank at the end of the day. It's not going to hurt him if he breaks even, but when it goes, it goes. So it's
That's
it's
it.
it's super neat to be able to have multiple income streams within that same trade.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Have you been getting a lot of new students?
I have been. I have been getting a lot of new students. And I also see that there's students that they've already been trading. They might just be looking for a little extra nudge. I'm heavily devoted to psychology, so maybe that's what they're looking for. But I also see that they're buying prop firm stuff. So, there's like this natural trust that's built. When people go to Surge and they see me, they trust me, and then when people come to me and see Surge, they trust Surge, right? So it's like this beautiful just cycle of people getting education and people getting with reliable prop firms, and it's a great system.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, there's a lot of people who come to us. They take an audition, and they fail, and they realize quickly that, hey, I need a little bit more education. And being
Yes,
an ambassador, you're kind of right there to ready to take their hand and hold their hand through the
that's it.
process. So it's great to hear that you're helping those folks out.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Awesome. Well, Lex,
Yeah,
thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to let you get back to your day and into your weekend,
yeah,
and we will chat soon, and we'll see you next week on your live streams. But I
sounds
hope you have
good.
a wonderful weekend. And again, thanks for joining me in the live today.
I appreciate it, Corey. Have a good one.
You too. Talk to you soon.